Well, welcome everybody. It is 7 p.m. and we will call to order the Board of Metropolitan Police Commission regular meeting Tuesday, February 1st, 2022 at the Whitestown Municipal Complex. The chair sees a quorum. In fact, we're all good. And so if everyone would please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we are missing this time Bill Fletcher, I believe. I would make a motion that we amend the agenda to include under item 1, a new F, election of officer. Under item 6, a number F for Sylvia's Child Advocacy Center.
Susan, D and E we need to add as well. I just put those in red.
Oh,
Those
sorry.
weren't the original.
Under 6, item D, review and approve the Ascension St. Vincent invoice. E, review adopt 2022 department goals, and then F, Sylvia's. So bear with us, we're having a little bit of feedback, so if we look up and look confused, we will wait until it stops. So I made a motion to approve with those changes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. And did you all have a chance to review and approve the meeting minutes from the last? Do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from December's.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Any discussion? No? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. And E, certify the executive session that the only business was discussed as was noticed. So I make a motion that we certify the executive session. Motion seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. An election of officer. This is the good one. I continue, because of the way the board is made up, as president for another year. The council person is always present, but we do need a vice president in case I'm unable to be here. Is there someone who would like to be nominated, or you would like to nominate?
Okay, it looks like John's pointing at me, so I guess I will nominate myself for another term as vice president. I think you'd be good at that, for real. You're very knowledgeable about everything. I think you do a wonderful job at it, for real. Well, I appreciate that.
Do we have a second to the nomination?
I would second that.
You can't nominate and then second.
I apologize.
Okay, so we have a motion, it's been made, it's been seconded. Is there any other discussion? Other, you've done a very good job. Okay, all those in favor, or was there anybody else? Should we accept another nomination? Nope, nomination's closed. Then all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Good.
Welcome again.
Yep. I have quite a while to get to your number of terms as president.
You can catch up easily. Next up is a public request to speak, and I know we have Cheryl. Are you out there? Did you want to speak? You want to say anything on chat? Or they can open up your mic? Anything on the agenda or the non-agenda items? Okay, with that, we will go on to item number 3. The first thing under presentations is we've been honored to have Kent here from the Boone County Prosecutor's Office. So, sir, take the floor.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. First off, I want to thank you for putting all your meetings online. I do watch them. It's really informative. I can't be here a lot. I've got 3 boys traveling to basketball, baseball, whatever. So I do watch those every chance I get, and it's really informative so I can know what's going on, what the board is doing, and I thank you for your service, each and every one of you. One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you today was just to, first and foremost, just thank Whitestown and the Whitestown Police Department for its great partnership with the Boone County Prosecutor's Office. And I wanted to give you an example today of one of the partnerships that we've been able to enter into, and it's really grown and it's made a big difference in prosecution. And I think I know it's helping keep guns off our streets, and that is the Gun Liaison Program. So I know your meetings are usually really short, and I apologize that I'm going to talk a little bit longer than probably you're used to. But I want to tell you about what the Gun Liaison Program is, how it came to fruition, and what we're doing. So about 3 years ago, we tried to create this Gun Liaison position, this Gun Liaison, where we would have officers who were specially trained in collecting gun evidence. So someone gets pulled over, they're in possession of a gun illegally, or a gun's used at a scene of a crime. The forensics on that gun are imperative in order to prove possession in those cases, but also other times to take that gun and place it at another crime scene, right? And what was happening is we weren't really concentrating on that a lot. And using models that other jurisdictions were doing, we wanted to create gun liaison officers who were specially trained in collection of gun evidence. We tried to do this about 3 years ago, and it just really didn't come to fruition. And from a prosecution standpoint, it was imperative because we saw the increase in gun crime in Boone County. If you're not really in it, you don't see it. But when I first started, you might come across a gun once a month in a case. You might come once in a while. You might have what's called a red flag law or a Jake Laird law, where you're taking a gun from a disturbed individual. Those were rare. But over the last 7 years, anecdotally, we saw that it was more and more and more. And then about a year and a half ago, we ran the numbers, and we were kind of floored to see, wow, instead of having 1 to 2 gun cases a month, where a gun was either present at a crime, a gun was taken away from a disturbed individual, or someone was in possession illegally of a gun, we found it was happening 1 to 2 times a week. So seeing this huge increase, one of the things, and wanting to get the Gun Liaison Program off the ground, we applied at the prosecutor's office for a grant through the JAG burn at the federal government. And we were awarded this grant. It's a 5-year grant. And for the first 2 years, it fully pays for a gun liaison prosecutor to head up this team. And what it does is it gives us full funding for a deputy prosecutor. We're talking, full salary, benefits, everything. It also gives us money for training. And that's what I want to talk about, the training that we've been doing here in Boone County. So we got this grant, and in the first 2 years, we've gotten over $250,000 to pay for the salary and everything I talked about. And so we entered into a mutual agreement with the 4 big jurisdictions here in Boone County, and to come up with a gun liaison program. And Whitestown was the first one to jump on board, and Whitestown was the first one to adopt standard procedures when you had gun cases. And what should happen, because what we want to have happen is when there's a gun at a scene, we don't want anyone to touch it. We want to call in a specially trained officer, whether it's an officer from Whitestown. Sometimes if someone from Whitestown's not available, someone from Zionsville will come, and they will handle that gun specifically. And they've been trained to do that. So what we did was we created a whole training curriculum where we've trained, we did training. We had 2 separate gun liaison specialty schools here in Boone County already this past year. And it's a 3-day session. We've had 50 officers go through it. We've had 2 of them where they're specially trained to do this. Through this funding also, the Jake Laird law. Does everyone understand what that is? It's a red flag law? Okay. So what we did was, this is all prior to what happened down in Indianapolis, right, with the FedEx facility, this grant and wanting to do this. we set up training for every single officer. Every single law enforcement officer in Boone County has gone through training to make sure they know how to properly handle a Jake Laird law case. So they know when to take a gun, when to apply for search warrants, and then the process afterwards. So that is crucial in preventing things like that happen at the FedEx facility. So we've been able to do that. We've trained over 200 officers here in Boone County alone, and every single person in the Whitestown Police Department has gone through it. And a lot of the trainings I'm talking about, we've used your training facility at the new police station, and it's a great facility. I mean, Scott, we talk about all the time how awesome is facility, and it's been a godsend for us to have a good place to do trainings. So, in addition to that, this grant has allowed us to do the crisis intervention training. So there are times when we'll send officers to a crisis intervention training. So we've been able to put that on for officers from over 150 law enforcement officers from Boone County and surrounding agencies. We've been able to train at that program. We've also had a basic gun liaison school where we put every single officer through it to understand the policies and procedures of what happens when you come across a gun during an interaction as a police officer. And then one of the last things we did is that because of how well these programs are going on, we've partnered with, what's Annie's title?
Crime scene investigator.
Okay, Annie Green, your crime scene investigator. She's been one of the leaders in this, and she's worked really well with our gun liaison prosecutor. And they were contacted by other jurisdictions to put on a training like we've done for our officers. So we hosted it here at Whitestown Police Department in, I think, in late fall. And we had 7 different jurisdictions from 5 different counties outside of Boone County here. We're training them what we've done, right? So you say, okay, Kent, this is great, all this training you're doing, but what's really, have you seen, what have you seen? Well, I can tell you just in the first year of doing this, if we talk about just illegal gun possession cases where it's someone that has a violent history, so we're talking unlawful possession of a firearm by a serious violent felon, possession of guns by felons, possession of guns by domestic batterers, possessions of guns who we've taken away from the Jake Laird law. We've seen a 64% increase in those cases alone, just in 1 year. So this program has been great, and Whitestown has just been at the forefront for us as a partner in this. And Annie Green has just been tremendous and working well with our gun liaison prosecutor. So I wanted just to say thank you and just give you an example of some of our partnerships that we're doing, and just also make you aware that the crime is coming as well. We all know that, right? With our growth, it is coming, and so we've got to do some of these proactive things to stay out in front of it. So I really just wanted to say thank you for that and let you know what we're doing. So some few other things I saw on your agenda tonight was Sylvia's Place, right? You guys have been a great supporter of Sylvia's Place, and if you guys ever want a tour or want to talk to the executive director there, I'm the president of the board. Scott's on our board. We'll be happy to tell you about that. Your support of that's been tremendous. We're actually going to a couple other jurisdictions we went through and looked at all the number of cases we had and portioned it out. And you guys are right on pace with what you need to be supporting us with. So we want to say thank you for that. We're going to go to a few other jurisdictions and say, hey, you're using the center just a little, you're really using it. You need to give us a little more money. But, during the pandemic, we've seen a huge increase of cases. Last year, it went way up. So 25%, I think, at the end of the year. By the end of the year, it's up 25%. So with that, other than that, if you guys have any questions about what we do, or if you ever want to come to the prosecutor's office or see anything, please, we're there to help. I want to help communicate better with everybody. So if there's any questions or comments or concerns, now or later, please let me know. So thank you.
No questions, but huge thank you for the partnership over time and for keeping an interest, not only Whitestown, but all of the communities of Boone County. It's been a great relationship with the Boone County Prosecutor's Office. Look forward to it continuing and improving as we go.
Yeah. And thank you for bringing back the feedback that, we don't always, they're a little shy about patting themselves on the back, but we like to hear it and like to have the community have a chance to hear the good things that they're doing as well. So thank you, Scott, for your leadership in the department and making sure that we're well represented and that your staff is well trained. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up,
We don't have anybody from communications.
then we'll go on to the agency monthly report.
Okay.
Floor is yours.
Due to it being February 1st, we're back to a month behind on this one. So this is the December 21 monthly report. I'll just touch on a few things here, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But under community engagement, our officers assist the fire department once again with the Santa Parade. I'm sure most of you saw that back in December. And then multiple of our officers went up to the Lebanon Walmart and helped with Boone County Shop with a Cop, which is a great event that we can be a part of. We held our biannual voluntary fitness test. Was that in December, John? And still had a very good turnout as far as that goes. For the month under monthly statistics, we had 34 arrests and 74 case reports. That was on par with the year before as well. Citations generally go down in December. A lot of our officers have softer hearts in December with the Christmas season, so we see that on a yearly basis. Reserve hours are consistent with where they have been, around 60. I would like to let you all know that the officer that was hurt pretty much all last year, he is back to full status. So I expect those numbers to go up a little bit. However, we did hire one of our reserves who used a lot of, burn up a lot of these hours for us. So we'll see where that goes. Investigations with 14 crimes against property and 12 crimes against persons, and cyber investigations. It did go down slightly. I've got the yearly numbers in the year-end report, and over the course of the year, they were a lot busier than previous year. More along the training, officers completed their annual TASER certification. We all completed that, and other than that, Officer Gibson attended and completed his crash reconstruction school. Officer Sellers is in the second wave of his reconstruction school this week and next week as well. Any questions on the December monthly report? See none. I've got nothing under old business. Item A under new business, review and approve the 2022 fleet project. This is much like what we do every year. Looking at purchasing 6 all-wheel drive Tahoes, which we switched to last year. We had been purchasing the 2-wheel drives. Last year we switched to all-wheel drive. They did go up about $4,000 a piece, much like everything else on this list. And then the only other thing that's additional on this list that we haven't done before is the Axon in-car cameras. If you recall, last year we purchased Axon cameras for our entire fleet. Moving forward, I'd like to throw those in the lease and keep up to date with the vehicles that we have. So we only listed 5 on there instead of 6, even though we're buying 6 vehicles, and that's because one of them is going to be an admin vehicle. So I think that'll put us where we need to be. Obviously, this will also go to council and have to be written up by the attorneys for the lease, but I would ask that you approve that. In talking with Chevy, they're not actually going to be building these vehicles until April, so we're probably not going to see them on the streets till August, realistically.
Will they have the chips by March?
We hope. And hopefully no ice storms in Texas that delay us 3 months like they did last year.
It'd be nice to be at the front of the list.
Right.
Is there any discussion? I like adding the Axon cameras into the lease so that we're always making sure we're up to date and getting the most updated, and we can just continue to roll that instead of having to play catch up. I appreciate that leadership on that.
Hearing no other comments, is this, so this amount is set, correct? There's no.
That's not a
there's no
set,
flex?
well,
What would it take on a not to exceed to make sure we're comfortable here?
that should be fairly close, actually. I was trying to figure that out for last year's, and quite honestly, when I added it up, what went to council was different number than what I had added up, so I have a little concerns with saying the exact amount, but we don't need to fluff it.
390 work? Or
Sorry.
390 work?
I think
or
if
we
you
need to go
said
higher?
not to exceed 390, I think we can fall well within that.
I make a motion then to approve the 2022 fleet lease project with a total amount not to exceed 390,000.
Second.
We have a motion seconded. Any further question? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item B, under review and approve the Gray Shift annual invoice. Again, this is a yearly cyber invoice that we have been doing now for, I believe, 5 or 6 years. This is the Gray Key. And we have partnered with not only the prosecutor's office, but Zionsville and Lebanon Police Department. And I have commitments from all three that they will be assisting once again with assisting to pay with this. It did jump up. I believe last year was 17,000. It has risen to 18,290, and that's because of some extra features that it now has that we've already checked out with another agency as well, and much needed. I will say this is something we use on a daily basis, and we really need to continue to utilize it. It's really good equipment.
Chief, does this amount reflect the contributions by the other departments, or is this the full amount and then?
This is the full amount, and then we essentially get reimbursed.
Okay, so you have pledges from the others for the reimbursement.
Correct.
Is there any other discussion? I'd make a motion then that we approve the contract with Gray Shift not to exceed 18,290.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? No? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item C, review and approve the prospective new employees as discussed in the executive session.
I make a motion that we approve candidates 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the full-time positions and reserve candidates A and B as presented during the executive session.
Do we have a second? Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? I'd just say once again, another great group of candidates to be reviewed, and appreciate you guys going through it with the diligence that you do.
Thank you. It is a lot of hard work on everybody, and I have to thank Captain Yurkosh for leading that, but the detectives, they spend by far the most amount of time with background checks. And if I could ask, who seconded that? Okay,
Kevin.
thank you. Item D.
Wait,
I'm sorry?
we have to have a vote.
Oh, you haven't voted. I'm sorry.
So seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Item D, review and approve the Axon St. Vincent invoice. This was the perf physicals for the new hires we just discussed. It is in the amount of $6,361.78.
Any discussion? Well, I'll just make a motion that we approve the Ascension St. Vincent invoice not to exceed $6,361.78. And seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item E, review and adopt the 2022 department goals. I sent all of you these I think today actually, and they will be up on the website by the end of the week as well. Just to talk about a couple, and if you would like me to go into any detail, feel free to let me know. But under community relations and building and strengthening, we are researching classes to host for members of the community increased frequency of classes. Actually, I think we have a little typo there, John. But essentially, the women's self-defense classes, we want to get back to those. COVID's kind of shut us down on those. We want to get back to those as soon as we can. There's a few other classes that we're looking at as far as community events and bringing them up and using our department in the way that it was built and designed to be utilized. We're also hoping to do a Citizens Academy this year. We've talked about that for a number of years. We actually tried to do one 5 or 6 years ago, but didn't get the community support as far as the amount of people we needed. But we've since then, I think as we grow, every year I have more and more people asking about why aren't we doing that. So you'll see one of those this year. I would sure think at some point. Under department growth and expansion, we are looking into an actual traffic unit / vehicle for when we do get those complaints from the community, that we can dedicate them solely, for 12 hours a shift to a certain area and really hit traffic hard in that, get the traffic violations taken care of. We have handled, I think, legacy core as much as we possibly can with taking calls in between, but something like that would help. I think once we get these 4 new hires out and about, and we actually have some extra staff, get a couple people back from being injured, we're going to be a lot better off as far as that goes as well. We're also looking at, myself and the 2 captains have been discussing an incident review board for, say, traffic, when our people are involved in traffic accidents. We do fill out paperwork, supervisors review that. That comes all the way up to me to look at, but this board would be more of a hands-on approach to look at every incident, whether that's an accident, what else do we have on here? A pursuit, anything hands-on, they would be taken care of. So we're looking at some different ideas as far as how we want to handle that. A lot of the goals from last year were continuation goals, and you'll see that on the first page. We didn't want to get away from those, and a lot of that stuff is things that we need to continue to do. And other than that, like, short of me going through all of these individually, does anyone have any questions about anything specifically? I think they're all pretty cut and dry on what we're trying to get put across. And I believe next month, and Susan, I think I will be going in front of the council to describe these a little bit more next month, most likely.
Mhm.
Okay.
So if there's room for additional suggestions, to get those too.
Yeah, is there anything you guys need added, taken out?
Chief, I was going to ask about, do you have any gun safety classes or anything for any of the citizens to be a little bit more?
We do not. That's certainly something we can look at. That does go along with my goal of one day having our own range, where that would fall in line with that a little bit closer. But that doesn't mean to say we couldn't do something without a range. I think most people, when they sign up for something like that, expect to shoot as well. So currently we refer people up to Boone County or Lebanon. They both have ranges that they do offer some introduction to defensive pistol type classes.
Right.
Which also include just handling the gun safety. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Look all right?
Shall we go ahead and formally adopt them?
I was going to say, do we need to formally adopt those, or?
And pass them on to council for approval?
You can do it by vote or just by consensus. I mean, there's either is fine, but I think it's important to have this board's blessing to the goals as presented.
Well, let's make it official then. I make a motion that we adopt the 2022 department goals as written, with the exception we may submit a few more before it's submitted to council.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? No? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Send them on.
Okay.
Good job.
Lastly, item F, review and adopt the, I'm sorry, review and approve the Sylvia CAC invoice. I don't have a copy of that, Susan. I gave you my only
You gave
copy.
me the only copy.
I did.
So I would make a motion. This is something that we do every year. It's one of those that is truly a necessity for us to assist in the funding so that we make sure that our children are looked after and that child abuse is treated as seriously as it is. So I would make a motion that we again commit to the $10,000 to cover 2022 services to Sylvia CAC.
Second.
Motion made second. Any further discussion? Good job, guys. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Excellent. Thank you. Under other business, I included the 2021 year-end report. You all received a copy of this last week, and it has been up on our website since last Friday as well. Anybody wanting to see that can go under the forms. They will see all of our 2021 monthly reports as well as the year-end report. We'll continue to do that. This is a lengthy document that we put together. I would say if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to ask. I'm especially proud of the last paragraph of the last page where it mentions that we finished this 2021 budget year with more than an 11% budget surplus that was returned to the town general fund. So I think that goes to us not asking overly for too much, but that the commission also keeping me on par with what we should be spending. So, any questions with anything else?
I don't have questions, but that was a fantastic report. For all involved building that report out. Very professional, very detailed, fantastic report.
Good. And we try to do a better job this year of showing what all of our officers do with the specialties. We hadn't really laid those out in past reports, just to let people know most of our officers don't just come out and work the road. They have other duties that they do, lots of training hours, lots of commitments, and most of it's volunteered on their end as well.
I appreciate the fact that it again showed that you guys not only met your goals, but you exceeded the goals and you continued to add throughout the year as you saw was fit and necessary to make sure that the community was covered and that you supported the community's efforts as well as making sure that you kept all of us safe and you kept your department safe, which was very important over the last year as well. So I commend you guys for, again, overachieving 2021 goals and it's great to be able to post that and to be so proud of what you've accomplished. So thank you all for making us look so good.
With that, I have nothing else for the meeting.
Well, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. We appreciate it. See you next month. And you didn't hold us up too much.